All right, guys. Today we're talking about continuing education. Congrats, Fern. You found what you were looking for. We
Found
see it in
it.
the
I
background.
found it.
We had a fan of the show send Fern a couple of patches and coins and whatnot. One set for me, one set for Fern. Fern, of course,
Nothing
lost
for
by a
Todd.
set.
Lost yours. Lost yours.
Nothing
Yeah,
for
none
Todd.
for
Look
Todd.
at, hey, Neil, if you're
We'll get you,
listening,
Todd.
can we hook our boy Todd up? So when we talk about continuing education, let's start here. Everybody knows this. I'm a level 4 CrossFit coach. What are you guys?
Yeah, this is so exhausting. You know what
I'm,
Todd is? Todd's a flow man. What are you?
And a level
You're
4,
just
yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah. You're elite.
no,
You're
I
a
was being
trainer.
serious. I truly wasn't sure what Todd. Todd, you're a level 4?
yep.
Like, how'd you get your level 4?
What is
How'd you get
that?
yours?
Sounded like a weird question.
Who'd you sleep with? No, I mean more so like I could tell my
no,
story of.
I know your story. Why don't you tell your story and then we can
We've never
go
heard
from there.
it.
The fact
Yeah.
that
Talk about
that
you're the
you
first one ever to
passed
get your level. Chris Spieler was there.
you passed because people felt bad for you or something like that, or you made somebody laugh, but you weren't a very good coach. I was the opposite
funny.
of that.
I was
I was
funny.
actually
Jay-
a good coach. I didn't make
Jay,
anybody
people
laugh.
really like you, but you're not
Yes.
very good. So we'll give you a pass.
Here's your level 4. Here's your level 4. Congrats. No, I meant more so like, when did you take your? You must have passed the old level 2.
Right. Yep. I believe it was in 2009, maybe. It was a couple months before it went offline.
So and then you got grandfathered into your level 4 the same way I did. Somehow you worked your way up the ranks of the CrossFit seminar staff faster than both Fern and I. One of life's great mysteries.
Yeah, something like that.
I remember.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll Center of the Tootsie Pop?
Yeah. So
Jay's
and
got
then
the answer to
Fern,
that one.
You're just a lowly level 3.
That's it.
We let you on the,
I remember I do remember like I was getting ready to do it and then they took it offline and they changed it.
I was
like,
gonna
I was
do
at,
it. I was about to do it.
I was so close. No, hey, listen, I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that I would have passed. I'm just saying like I was getting ready to do that because I remember because I was at him and they had just run a couple and one of the trainers there, whose name is Rob Wilson, he had taken it and passed. I think he was the only one in the group that passed when he had done it. And then they swapped it all because I ended up doing the CPC in 2011. Like later, like I went out to Denver and did it at Verve with Wood and Spieler and Matt Chan.
Did you get that for free, like your level 1 from the license plate?
Tattoo. He had to get a tattoo.
I got a tattoo.
In order to get it on his chest.
Yeah. No regrets is what it says.
So funny, one of my coaches passed the level 2 way back in the day as well, Brett. And when the level 3 came out and I got my level 4 because of that, I was like, dude, go take your level 3. And he was like, ah. And I was like, you would be one of like the 20 or 30 level 4s in the world right now if you just passed your level 3. But he didn't want to do it. And that was kind of what led to this call. A recent episode, I spoke out about it. A couple people messaged me calling me an asshole, which I'm used to. I mean, with friends like you two, there's no one can offend me, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Wait, what did you spoke out about what? I don't remember.
So it was with Brady Lynch.
Got it. Okay.
And, you know, we were talking about him taking his level 2. He's got his level 1 certificate right now. And just my belief of, if you're a CrossFit coach and you're not looking to continue your education within the scope of CrossFit as well as outside of CrossFit, I don't think, you know, it all lives and dies within the CrossFit world. But if you're not looking for your level 2, your level 3, and then ultimately your level 4, I don't think you should coach CrossFit. I think you should not be coaching CrossFit. And I know that's a harsh stance. And before we go any further, look, some people have financial issues. Some people have family obligations. I'm not saying it's like you need to do it tomorrow, but we all see those people that say, oh, maybe I'll do it or I'll just redo my level 1. Like, if you have the financial means, you should be doing it. Is that too harsh of a stance?
No, I think it's a little bit idealistic, but I think I have a similar stance. But now my stance is a little bit tempered because of all of this stuff going on right now, right? Meaning, I think there's a place for both, right? So I think as an affiliate owner, there's a couple of scenarios. Like me, I'm an owner operator, or I have started the affiliate. I am the business aspect of it, and maybe I hire a GM. So I think somebody in the building who is a full-time person there should have their level 2, but I don't necessarily think it should be mandated if it's the affiliate owner. I'm also totally cool with CrossFit not making that a mandate.
Yeah, and I want to hear Todd's perspective, but I'm also saying, like, hey, there are people that own a CrossFit affiliate that don't necessarily coach anymore. I'm not saying those people, but I'm saying we all know the people that are like, I love CrossFit, I love coaching CrossFit. Oh, cool, you're gonna do your level 2? Then don't coach CrossFit because you don't love CrossFit. If you don't want to learn more, if you don't want to be the best coach you can be for $1,000 in 2 days, you are not really as dedicated as you say you are. Todd?
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you guys in the sense that I think just the nature of this role is like that you need to continually you should be seeking development throughout the entire process, not only as a CrossFit coach, but as a human being, right? And I think the level 2 course, the level 3, and as the level 4 gets online, those offer so much value that if this is something that you're planning to do and you want to take seriously, there's no reason that you shouldn't be taking it. I think where I struggle often is when I hear people out in the community start demanding that in order to coach at an affiliate or own an affiliate, you need to have a level 2. Like, you shouldn't be doing this without that case. And I'm like, the reality of it is when anybody starts coaching, you're not a good coach. Just, that's fact. Just like, you start coaching, you've never done it before, you're not going to be very good. The only way you get any better at this stuff is actually doing it. So if somebody was, somebody that demands that there's a level, that you have a level 2 before you start coaching at a gym, it's like, well, how do I get any good at this thing before I start doing it? So that doesn't make any sense to me. I just feel like it's like, I walked through a door where I was fortunate enough to start coaching. I was a horrible coach. I can remember some of my first sessions from when I started coaching, and I thought I knew a lot. And it is like, just the images I have in my mind are absolutely brutal because I had no clue really what I was doing.
I remember sessions from like 3 months ago where you were pretty bad too.
Oh my gosh. You feel that way just because you think you move so well.
Todd can't see anything. My knees are definitely pushed out. What is Todd talking about?
They're supposed to touch each other in the squat. That's how you initiate the way
technique.
Up.
It's the whipping technique.
It's catapult method.
Yeah, of your knees. But it's like,
yeah, I agree with that. I think that, I don't think it's realistic to be like level 2 is mandatory, but I think you should do it. I'm with Jay, but I think a realistic time frame is like 2 years from your level 1 to your level 2.
Let me be clear about a couple of things. One, I don't think you need it to coach, but I also don't think there's anything wrong with the box saying you need to have it. But
no, I think,
it's kind of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right there. My point is more so, if you had, and let's look at it from your perspective, Todd. I know you have coaches on your staff that you've been frustrated with that maybe aren't pursuing the next credential. How do you handle that?
I think you try to incentivize any behavior that you want to have, and at this point, we're pretty fortunate in the sense as we've got me as a level 4, we've got 2 additional level 3s.
Who you have?
Rena and Jared? That's right. No, Rena and Sean are level 3s. We've got Prim's a level 2, Jules is a level 2.
And Prim's got some great eggs.
Yeah, right. We've got everybody else is a level 2. I think we've got one coach that's a level 1, and he's the newest one to the staff and coaches the most infrequently. And as soon as there's an option there, he'll have a level 2. And we've got, somebody else that's studying to take their level 3. So we incentivize that, we encourage that, we work towards that. And I think that everybody should be working that way. So I'm with you there. I just don't think that it's like that's the only way to become a good coach.
I agree. And I also think there's a difference between moving towards your 2 and your 3, because it's a whole different ball game there. You know, someone's coaching for you, Fern, and they have their level 1, and you're like, okay, within the next 1 to 3 years, I need you to move towards your level 2, because let's be real, you show up, it's a take-home test at this point, not a whole lot of stress behind it. Yes, you're going to get feedback, but that doesn't dictate pass or fail. Your level 3 is a 8-hour test in front of a computer. So I understand, hey, we need to slow this one down a little bit.
Yeah, I think the level 2, for me at this point, and Todd, I don't know how you feel about this, but it may be the same. For me, I encourage people to go to the level 2. I don't necessarily think they're going to hear anything at the level 2, with the exception of like the feedback will come from somebody else and it may hit home a little bit more, right? So like the feedback that I'm giving my coach, largely the same feedback that I would give in level 2. But we all know that, like, sometimes if I tell my wife, push her out, she's like, face. But if Todd tells her to push her knees out, she's like, thanks. I've been waiting for someone to tell me that. And I'm like, that's literally what I just said. Sometimes I think it's just good for my particular staff to get out and hear it from somebody else, a different perspective, just to validate what it is that we're doing here. And it's not to say they don't believe me, but I just like them to hear from other people.
Yeah, and you can hear things a different way, or there's
Exactly.
a slightly different perspective through everything. So I think that's valuable there. But I also think that you're unique in the sense that you've created a facility to where you're continually providing feedback, and people are able to learn from. You got 2 people on seminar staff there, and so there's not many affiliates out there that have exposure to coaches that are at the level that you are at and Cassidy are at. And a lot of times people don't know what they don't know. So you get out there, and your example of your coach is either the first person that you went to the gym and watched coach. That's what a coach is. Or if you started this stuff on your own, it's whatever interpretation that you have of that. And so you might think you're doing a fantastic job just because you don't know any better. So there's a little bit of that. I think I feel like almost anybody that's been in this space long enough has also gone down different rabbit holes where you find different quote unquote experts in the field or in the community that has this slightly different perspective on things, and you kind of align with them or agree with them. And you start falling down that rabbit hole. And I think the level 2 does a really good job of bringing you back and taking you back to the basics. It's like your knuckle position in the clean or the snatch is not nearly as important as you getting your hips open. You know what I mean? And some people lose sight of that because they get so passionate about these other things, or because they listen to these other, experts or high-level coaches that maybe are coaching to a different demographic than who we are at the affiliate level, which for the most part, most affiliates that I know of, it's like we're coaching to the everyday average Joes. So I think it's something that people should take. Absolutely. You're going to get grounded. You're going to hear feedback a different way. It might just kind of set you back and get you back to where you need to be, kind of focused on the basics and working on teaching, seeing and correcting, managing the group and that kind of stuff.
I don't think there's any doubt that it's beneficial. I guess my point was, like anything in life, if you say, like, and I get it, some people coach just because it's a little bit of fun. And I don't want to take away from those people. I think it's great if you find a hobby that you enjoy doing, 2 hours a week coaching on the side. You got a family, you got a job. So I'm not saying everybody needs to, but I even think, at some point for those people, you're going to need to revalidate your level 1. You need to, I don't think there's any cost benefit either anymore, correct, Todd? If they
Nope. Yep.
Right. So whether you redo your level 1 or level 2, it's the same cost.
Same.
But yes, you're going to get better feedback from a different person, and you're going to learn more, and you're going to refresh your eyes. It's just a simple analogy would be someone that trains jujitsu like me. I can tell you all day long, it's fun just getting better. The journey. I want a black belt at some point, and it should be the same thing with CrossFit. Like, you want to get better every time you show up to coach at Drive or Rife, but at some point you want that credential to prove that you've been doing all of that. And the way this all came about, I'd like to hear your opinion on this. I said to him, hey, go take your level 2. And he said, well, I just took my level 1. And I said, I find the coaches that do best at their level 2 are the ones that come back within 3 years. It's nothing to do with it's a close time frame to your level 1. It's that I know you're there because you care, versus the people that come back 5 years
Like
later.
5 years because they have to
and they're like,
revalidate.
shit, yeah, they're like, I got to pass this or else what do I do? Like we all hear that every weekend at the level 2. Like, what happens if I fail this? Do I still have my level 1? So for me, it's not about how fast you come back in that sense. It's that I know if you're coming back that fast. I mean, all 3 of us took the level 2 or the CPC, the equivalent of it, within a year or 2 of our level 1 when we didn't even have to revalidate at the time. There was no need to do it.
Well, and you're a good example of this, I know for sure, because you did every single extra course there was. But I can still remember the day that if they're within a 5 or 6 hour driving distance, if there was any course that had CrossFit associated with it, I was in.
Oh, yeah, go on
I
the
didn't
directory.
care what it was. It was like kettlebells, I'm in.
Did you?
Olympic
how many
lifting,
specialty seminars have you taken?
only a handful, not nearly as many as you have. I think just a handful of them. But I know, like,
I gotta
was just
email. I'm gonna call Castro and tell him about this and be like, "How is Todd?" I'll text him after this. Give him a call, whatever.
I can't wait to see the reply that says, "Who is this?"
Yeah.
Oh, so on that note, with regard to the specialty stuff, so it's like, yes, we want to pursue knowledge, but like, how is it valuable, right? So the number of people that you've seen evaluate a class, right? So I was watching one of our interns here at CrossFit Rife, like just practice running through some stuff, and I was having him practice run through teaching rowing and double unders. And how many people don't have or haven't sought out information on those two seemingly mundane movements and can't put together 5 minutes worth of instruction to teach that something like that in a class and do it pretty efficiently. We were like, well, how do you do that? Well, you could look it up on YouTube, or you could spend time going to a weekend seminar or a day-long seminar on something like double unders or rowing. I have information, not give the same presentation 5 or 6 times in a rowing class, right? And be able to add value and you've seen this. That's the difference between a really good coach who is pursuing knowledge when they teach a class and they can teach everybody something about rowing instead of just saying, get on there, adjust your foot pegs, put your damper on 5, and make sure that you're on calories versus meters. Like, that's not coaching.
No,
like, I should be able to teach you something about, hey guys, the tempo on the pull versus the return to the catch shouldn't be the same. Or you should be looking at this position at the back of the pull, right? Like, just little things like that. But you only learn those by pursuing that and watching YouTube or going to a kettlebell or a double under certificate. Like, how many people don't have the jump rope? They're just like, you either have singles or you don't.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned rowing, because that's kind of my go-to when I take a class from someone, rowing and running, because you don't really need a lot of coaching, but there's so much to coach. And to me, it's often one of the movements. And by the way, I don't know what's going on with your internet, Fern. Is his internet shitty, Todd?
Yeah.
Why is your internet
Cutting out a lot.
Is
You
COVID
guys sound great.
Is COVID affecting your internet?
It might be sick. My internet might do
Shut
sick.
down the porn sites that are running behind the scenes. Those are taking up too much of the bandwidth.
Turn off YouPorn. All right, put the window down.
But anyway, I agree with you. I always look at those, and yes, I've taken the running seminar multiple times in all the iterations, and I've taken the rowing. But like you said, and I guess that's a good follow-up question is, I think we are all in agreement. You need to pursue your level 2, then your level 3, then your level 4. But what are some of the more important and better courses you've taken, Todd, out, whether inside the CrossFit world, like specialty courses, or just completely outside?
I think I've talked to you guys about this before. I think that some of the things that's impacted my coaching the most has been public speaking courses or things. I joined Toastmasters. I've taken acting classes, all because I could not public speak at all. I was terrified to be in front of people and could hardly say anything when I was. So those have impacted my coaching and being able to get up and communicate in front of people, which I think is as or more important than the the rest of this stuff.
What have you taken either weightlifting or gymnastics with Bergner or with? I took gymnastics when Tucker was teaching it.
I was
I did
on the
not.
gymnastics team, just for reference, if you guys were
Which is
wondering.
shocking. But
You were the coffee guy.
I
you
traveled
did
with
registration. Yeah.
I traveled with Tucker. I traveled with Rip back in the day for barbell. I mean, personally, I think the gym. I don't want to, I like everybody who runs, especially or preferred course, I should say at this point. But gymnastics to me was always one of the best because for the athletes especially, it just teaches them how to move their body in space better.
Yeah, I think Carl Paoli ran a pretty cool seminar. I think it was a day-long seminar that was pretty interesting as well. I know I took that one.
He's got a good.
Good.
Well, no, I was gonna say anything gymnastic I think is great, and that's the point. I mean, I don't think it's black and white. Like you need to take your level 2. I mean, I think it's black and white. If you're a coach, you have your level 1. When you revalidate, it should not be a question. You should take your level 2, and then you should be working towards your level 3. But I also think, like Todd is suggesting, be it acting or Toastmasters, and you need to be developing yourself. And for us, we have our level 3, which is what requires CEUs. And we get, I mean, I just sent in my reval. Fern actually was my witness on my coaching hours. I was going to send it to Jenny, but I was like, there's no way Jenny figures out how to e-sign this thing. I was like, let me shoot it to Fern. But I mean, I had 92 CEUs when I needed 50 in 3 years.
Yeah, I think I mean, like 80 something.
Yeah, it just shows, I mean, that we're always seeking out more. And I know Fern, you and I have the opportunity to take the adaptive course and a couple of the other online ones. And I've just been delaying it because I'm like, okay, I'm going to need to get more CEUs in the future.
Yeah. That's why I'm holding off, right? So like I was actually in the middle. I'm in the middle of that one and the precision nutrition one, and I just like put them on pause. So I was just like, I want these CEUs for later. But it's interesting. What I think it's interesting when you take those courses, I took away different things from different courses. For instance, my takeaway when I took the weightlifting course with Coach Bergner was, yes, I learned to see a little bit, but what I really learned was what was like really effective, kick-ass teaching and coaching, right? We didn't really dive real deep into how to see hip extension and stuff like that. But when you watch him teach to a group, you're like, that's effective coaching for the masses. And that's what I took away from that. Where when I took the gymnastics course from Tucker, that I found has been far more difficult to weave in from a teaching standpoint. But what I did take away from that one was how to see positions. Like I took 2 totally different things away from both of those seminars. Like when I took gymnastics, now I could see gymnastics positions and I understood them, so I could correct them better one-off, real time in the class, where weightlifting was more like, okay, this is how I teach the movement. So I don't know how you guys feel about some of those other courses, but that same thing with running. I get the same thing out of running that I did out of gymnastic. But depending on which course you took, I took the old one when it was Brian McKenzie, took the endurance course, and then I took the online running one, and that one is a little bit of seeing, but then like learning to teach some drills too.
I mean, I agree with you. I was talking to Keith Wittenstein yesterday, and we were kind of joking that, how old is the seminar staff getting? I mean, Keith turns 50 in a couple months. I'll be 42.
Does he really?
Yeah, Fern turns 40. Todd turns 40 next year, Todd?
Yeah.
So, I mean, look at us. I mean, 4 people are 40 plus, and he very quickly brought up Bergner, and it's like, if you don't go to a weightlifting seminar and think you're going to learn something from this 80-year-old dude still teaching the Olympic lifts, like, you're insane. And, so it's not always like the technique, like you're saying, it's how he teaches. And, he taught kindergarten or whatever, elementary school.
Yeah, middle school. Yeah.
Years, What are you going to say, Todd?
I think that's the thing that does bother me from people that decide to revalidate the level 1 as opposed to move on to the level 2. It's like, I've got no problem if that's the direction you want to go. But I've also heard it phrased as like, there's nothing more that I can learn from CrossFit, or there's nothing more that I can learn from the level 1. And I'm like, dude, I've been in that course 300, I've taught it 300 times, been in it, over that. I'm like, every single time I'm there, I'm learning something new. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at the videos and gone through the online level 1, and that I'm like, there is so much good stuff in that I'm learning and taking away just from watching that. So I'm like, as soon as you think that you know so much that some course or even reading an old journal article where you're like, I've read that before, I don't know that, or you're like, I've already got that information down. If you take that approach, that's the issue. But if you use and leverage every opportunity as a learning opportunity, and starting like a beginner, like you're going to be able to get a ton from the level 1 if that's what you decide to do. Again, clearly you'll get a ton from the level 2 or studying for the level 3. It's like it's more of a mindset as opposed to what you're deciding to take and not take.
When you say it's a mindset, is that, because I agree with you. I'm thinking about the seminar staff, and I can't think of anyone that does not live this way outside of CrossFit as well. Where they're always trying to develop themselves as a human being. But when we talk about mindset, do you think it's unique to them, these people, when it comes to coaching, or do you think this is who they are outside of here? Like, because if you think that way, you're a pretty closed-minded person. And I've seen the people that come into their level 2 and they're like, wow, I did not expect this. And it's like, so they had that thought beforehand. So do you think it's like, hey, this is just who some people are, and we've made it onto seminar staff because we are not, we seek this out in our lives, period? I mean, whether it's
I think CrossFit in general kind of attracts this type of people. And I think there are plenty of people out there that continue to develop and learn that are outside of the world of CrossFit and outside of the community. But I think more often than not, because if you think about the people that you come across in the level 1 or level 2, the majority of people are there and excited to learn because they know that they are going to develop themselves and get something out of it. It's a very select few that walk in and have that attitude that I'm not going to learn anything. And then it switches over the course of the weekend. They're like, wow, that was way better than I thought, or I learned more than I thought I did going in. So I think it's just CrossFit in general it's something that's hard. You got to be willing to suffer and work hard. And there's a lot of development that is had just doing these workouts on a daily and weekly basis, whether it's a physical development or a mental development or anything else. So I think this community attracts people that are like-minded and that aren't satisfied where they're currently at and want to be better, whether that's coaching, whether that's physically, whether that's wherever that's at.
Have either of you had to kick somebody out of your gym?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For being an asshole?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember when you wanted to move to St. Augustine, Jay, and I said there was no place for you here?
That's why I always recommend when people move to St. Augustine, just Google CrossFit affiliates and find a good one.
Yeah.
No, just because, like you said, and I agree with you, for the most part, 99% of the people that do CrossFit are, good people, but there's always that one bad apple. I mean, I've had to get rid of people as well. It's probably another podcast, but yeah, there's still assholes in CrossFit. But what were you going to say, Fern?
But even that 1%, kind of like the example that Ty gave, which was they came in and you can tell the person's a little resistant, or they have this notion that they don't need to be there because they've got the skills that they need. Me, the beauty of the level 2, right, is the ability to mold the delivery based on, because I mean, like the number of people that you've talked to about like things that are not technical in nature, that are more along the, your presence and attitude is garbage. You should smile occasionally because what nobody here is listening because you're an ass. That's not the way it's delivered, but like that's the kind of teaching that you can be delivered in the level 2. So you can, kind of like stuff that Chuck talks about is like, or even Nicole, which is like that transmission of culture, which is like, hey, you need to recognize that we're doing more than teaching the air squat, right? We're trying to have a relationship and we're trying to have connection with these people. And you need to understand that is far more than just understanding the points of performance to the air squat. Can I connect with people and teach them the air squat, having a good time, and they learn? That's an art form, right? That all of us will forever be working to hone. Like none of us are gonna ever like that I'm done.
Who's someone you each look up to on seminar staff as providing good feedback?
I don't like. I'm trying to think of.
I mean, like,
yeah, I was gonna say I'm not sure if there's many people on staff or that don't give good feedback as far as flow masters and those people. It's like you got Chuck and Todd Widman and Joe Westerlin, Joe DeGain. Everybody out there is, Sheree Chan. They all do such a good job of it, and I think it's a cool environment because in order to get in that position to give feedback, you had to have gone through years and years of getting feedback. So
adding the attention to detail never ceases to amaze me. Like, I mean, everybody's been through this. Like, you come off of the floor from teaching a breakout or coming off of a lecture, and you're like, I fucking smashed that. Like, that was amazing, right? And for the most part, like, they would probably agree, but they're not like, that's not going to be the feedback. The feedback is not going to be like, great job, I don't have anything for you. It will be something along the lines of like, great job, here's more, right? Like, you could make it better, right? It's never, I can think of very few occasions where they're just like, I got nothing for you. Like, it was perfect, which I think is important.
Yeah, one time Austin was giving me feedback and I was like, did I do anything good this weekend? And he was like, you're here. I don't need to give you what you did well. Like, you're on staff. Like, you're here because you're good. Here's how you need to get better. I was like, all right, noted. Never ask Austin for good feedback.
That's interesting. That's when somebody doesn't have somebody doesn't have any good feedback to give you. That's the way to like try to trick you like they like you. Hey, I'm talking to you right now. Of course I'm your friend.
Yeah. I had similar, but that's kind of the culture though, because I kind of had a similar conversation with C years, because she was for a little bit, and I was like, hey, am I ever going to find out if I'm doing it or not? Or is it just going to be this kind of barrage, you suck, And she's like, assumption is, so you're checking the boxes. We're not going to like stroke because of that. Like, you need to get better. And I was like, okay. Can feel a little rough sometimes, but like, okay, I get it. It is the way it is.
All right, that was a lot choppy. Todd, we'll just interpret that as Fern as a
interpret
bad
it,
coach.
yeah. Here, what do you think I said?
Yeah.
I know what I think you said. I don't know what everybody heard. But yeah, I mean, it goes back to that whole feedback loop that we've talked about numerous times, going to take your, and that's where taking your level 2. One thing I've learned about CrossFit that I've tried to take into everyday life, and Todd, you deliver more feedback than us on weekends, but it's the notion of when you deliver feedback, imagine you're going to get feedback on that feedback.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I think one of the other things that I try to always keep top of mind when I'm giving feedback is, one, is it actionable? Can you actually take this and do anything with it? And two, is it a trend, a bigger picture thing, or is it like you misspoke or you forgot that one word or that one line, or it's like you knew that, everybody knew that, not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, can you give something that's more of a bigger trend that's going to make a big impact? And is it delivered in a way to where you have a solution? It's no different kind of than what we've talked about with people coming and telling the gym owners, giving them their feedback there. It's like, don't just tell me that something sucks. Give me an idea on how I can make it a little bit better. Or what should I try going forward in order to correct that mistake?
Yeah, and don't just give me the low-hanging fruit, like you said, like, yeah, I forgot to mention that, or I misspoke there. Cool. But give me something that I can actually use to make this better long-term.
Right.
All right. Well, bringing it back to CEUs, I know Fern and I have the adaptive course that we're going to take. Do you have any coming up, Todd, that you're thinking about taking?
Well, I'm in the middle of looking at the online level 1, which is pretty cool. I'm interested in, now that the kids course is a webinar too. I'm not sure what the process will be like to take part in that.
I'd like to take that one. That's interesting. It's one of the few seminars that for some reason I've just never take. Did you take the original one? Like the
I took it, yeah, in person, which is one of the best ones. In fact, that's when I got asked to intern, was being there, which was cool.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
it just never coincided with a good weekend, but I'm gonna take it now that it's online. Fern, have you taken that one?
Not yet. Cassidy took it. He wanted to really take that one because his brother is a paraplegic, and he was like trying to help his brother out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. All right. Well, go ahead, Todd.
No, I was going to say with the new courses that CrossFit has put online, the dumbbell course, programming, that stuff, I'm interested to. I haven't gotten to those yet, so looking forward.
I want to take a jump rope course because I still haven't taken that one, and a kettlebell course. It's like I want to take the RKC at some point.
I don't know if the RKC still exists in the way it used to, but I took the RKC years ago, and that was 3 days of an ass whooping back in the day. I think it's changed a little. Pavel left and did his own thing, but did I ever tell this story? So the RKC,
Probably.
the RKC, in order to pass, there's physical tests you need to pass.
Yeah, you had to do the 100
right
or
so
10 minutes or it's whatever.
5 minutes, 100 dumbbell, 100 snatches, 53 for us. Now there's masters categories, but at the time I was probably like 30, and I had never done it in 5. Like I've never completed it. I just showed up. I was like, we're gonna see how this thing goes. So I'm taking it, and someone's watching. Someone's watching it. I remember the dude watching me. His name was Jeff Newport, because we've kind of remained in contact. And I'm into my 80s, and I put it down. You're allowed to put it down. You're allowed to rest. And I put it down. He goes, fail. That's all I did. Points at me. He goes, fail. And I was like, what? And he's like, you dropped the bell. Now, I 100% didn't drop the bell, but he did not like the way I put it down, and he was just like, fail. And I was like I didn't say anything. I just walked away, and my hands are shredded, like
oh yeah, destroyed.
And I'm like, fuck, now I have to do this before I leave. Like I have to do this. So I wound up coming back and finishing it, but it was like I passed it, but it was so frustrating just to be in that position where it was like there's zero sense in arguing. Like I'm not going to gain anything by arguing with this guy. He failed me. Now I have to come back and pass. But you know me, I passed.
What do you think? What are the chances that you could? How many reps could you get in 5 minutes now? The 53
right now
today. The guy who can't do strict pull-ups anymore.
I was telling these
I was going to say your neck and your shoulders look really skinny right now. You look like you're just withering away.
A lot of Peloton, not a lot of lifting going on, but the gyms are reopening. I got a session in yesterday. I think if it was like crunch time, I could do it. If it was just me in my extra bedroom right now, I'd get to about 70.
You mean like if I challenged you, then it would be crunch time, and we did it like at the summit or something?
Yeah, it would just be a matter of how willing I am to rip my hands, because without the practice, my hands are going to get shredded, and the bells are different. Like you guys know, there's different types of bells, and I only have the one with a really thick, like Rogue kettlebell here. So if I had a regular bell, I could probably still pass.
That's a regular bell.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
That's like when I was about to take the level 2 back in the day. I just
First of all, there's no way either of you passed the snatch test.
I don't know that I could. I mean,
it's just
that's a hard movement. That's not an easy movement. It would be tough.
It's tough. It was like one of those.
I bet I could do it.
It was one of those athletic achievements that I was like pretty like coming back, especially after failing. I was like, all right.
Actually, I'm gonna restate that. If you can do it, I can absolutely. Do it.
Yes, that's the same deal. Yeah.
Sounds like next time we're all together, we're throwing down on the snatches.
Done.
Yeah.
It's a great challenge, yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, the RKC was great, and I'm sure there's plenty. If people that are listening have questions about the CEUs or seminars, please hit us up. But if you also have some that you've attended that we've not touched upon, we'd love to hear those as well. Any final words, Todd?
Oh man, keep learning. I think that's the name of the game, the whole thing. Keep trying to be better, keep learning, especially as I don't know about you, Fern, maybe we can talk about this later. Just we're, half a week into the gym being open again. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we're still coaching CrossFit, but it is very different than it was before the doors closed. So just out of the handful of classes that I've coached so far, just trying to make adjustments and continue to change things and get better for everybody walking in the door has already been interesting. So if everybody else out there ain't doing the same thing, you know, you're doing yourself, and I think everybody else, as far as your clients go, a disservice.
Constantly varied, man. I mean, there's no way this isn't going to make you a better coach if that is your intent. All of this.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And I think if you're listening and you're like, okay, I don't agree with these guys, you have to probably reevaluate if you enjoy coaching because you're helping others, or you enjoy coaching because it's the cool thing to do at your box, or if it's, something else. And again, I don't think there's a right or wrong, but I stand by my statement. If you believe you're a good CrossFit coach and you care about it, you're seeking out credentials and you're seeking out higher education. That's it. That's my story. Sticking to it.
Thanks for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. How cool is that? There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, so it becomes super simple. Some of these episodes with Fern or Todd or myself chatting with one another, we've done right within the app itself. Anchor will make it easy to distribute your podcast to all platforms, Spotify, Apple, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make an awesome podcast in one place. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Come on, who doesn't have Spotify at this point? And if you were unaware, Spotify now is offering podcasts. That's right. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite artists, but also podcasts in one place for free. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now, Best Hour of Their Day. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. Premium users can even download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, something I always do before I hop on a plane. And you can even easily share what you're listening to with your friends on Instagram and other social media platforms. Here's the deal. If you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app, search for Best Hour of Their Day on Spotify, or browse some other podcasts if you want. You can find them in your library tab. And also make sure to follow me so you never miss an episode of Best Hour of Their Day. Thanks again for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. If you haven't already, do us a favor, head over to the Apple Podcast app and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback for either Fern or myself, hit us up, besthouroftheirday@gmail.com, or send us a DM over on Instagram at Best Hour of Their Day. Once again, we couldn't do this without the amazing community, and you are a part of it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting Best Hour of Their Day.